Hi everyone, my name is Levi. Some know me as Marva, but please call me Levi because I prefer that. Today I'm going to talk about how I overcame my fear of public speaking. I did explain this in a small video on my Instagram as well as my LinkedIn account, but maybe people would want to know more in detail what it's like to overcome the fear of public speaking. So I'm going to start by telling a personal story, and then maybe later on I can tell you some tips and tricks on how to recognize reactions and reactive nature of our breath and heartbeat and our body when we are facing with fearful situations, especially when it comes to public speaking, because this is our topic. By the way, I'm trained in breathwork and meditation teacher training program. And also, I have a certification in MBSR, also still in teacher training program in facial yoga. And I've also been doing yoga, breathwork, meditation for the past 4 years. So I have a great knowledge and experience in these areas, especially working with myself, seeing the progress is a huge experiment for me and also with my clients as well. When I started my breathwork course 2 years ago, I was in the 60 people online course where we will get together once a month, the whole weekend. It will be like 7 hours each day. And the teacher will explain the concepts, we will do the practices, and then there will be a sharing moment at the end. And each time I would want to say something, I would want to, ask a question, express my opinion, just talk, right? Like share something. But then I would hold myself so tight that I wouldn't be able to raise my hand because I would be so scared of even saying my name. Seriously, when I was in college, every time the teacher would ask a question, or if it's the beginning of the semester, and then teacher will say, okay, everyone should just say their name and last name, where are they from, or a little bit of things about themselves. Even that would scare the out of me, for real. Until it's my turn, my voice will crack, and then my body will shake, but I wouldn't know what to do with it. And going back to the course, so for the first 3 months, I didn't say a single word, even though I wanted to. I wanted to ask questions because I was extremely interested in the topic. I was, also researching these topics in my free time as well. Like I already knew so much before I even signed up to the course. That's why one of my friends told me like, Levi, you spent all this time learning about these things. Why don't you just sign up to a proper course so you will learn it properly? But I knew already so much. But of course, in this course, I learned even more, way more. So for 3 months, we are like talking about not just breath. We're talking about like, how to express ourselves, how to take care of ourselves, how to understand our needs, how to understand the nervous system, what is nervous system, what is fight or flight, fawn, freeze, the calm and digest mode, all those things, the emotions, how we repress things. So it's not just a breathwork and meditation course, it was above and beyond. Thanks to my teacher. But since we were talking about all these things, it started triggering me, and I started to think like, wait, why can't I say a single word? Why can't I express my opinion? I know a lot of things. I can provide a lot of value to this course. I mean, not to the course, but to this space, because every time someone shares their opinion, what they do is they raise their hand and they say, oh, can I add a value? Can I add on something? Can I share my knowledge? Can I share, something? And I wanted to share a lot of things, and I wanted to ask a lot of questions as well. But then I couldn't ask a single thing. And then one day, I'm outside with my friends, and I'm like, outside of this bar, I'm just thinking like, why can't I talk? What's wrong with me? And in my social network with my friends and with my family, I'm extremely talkative. I am a very social person. I have no problem expressing my emotions and my feelings and my thoughts or whatever. I can do all that with my close friends. Of course, like it's the safety place, right? But when I'm outside, when I need to do this in front of work setting, group setting, or if I need to present something, or even if I want to sing, which I love singing, and at that time I was trying to sing in front of people as well, but I couldn't. But now I can. Thank God I'm over it. And I said to myself, you know what? It doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to talk tomorrow in that session. I don't care if I'm scared. I don't care if I can't put the words together. I'm just going to talk. So what happened was I raised my hand at the end of the sharing session, and then, she was taking people by orders. So I was like, I had maybe like 2, 3 people ahead of me. And then the people who are talking already sharing their things, I realized my mind was going through, rapid stories. And then I said to myself, like, hold on a second. You're not going to miss these people's talk, right? Just because you are waiting on yours. Like, you are literally like completely blocked out. And because you are so scared and you are thinking of what the hell you're going to say, how you're going to say it, are you going to say it right, are you going to be able to explain it right? So I'm going through all these thoughts in my head, and I said, you know what? Stop the thinking. Let's focus on what people are saying. When it's your turn, then you'll be fine. Let's just try not to lose the present time, I said to myself. And in that moment, I brought my attention to my body, and I realized, I was like, oh my God, it's shaking. It feels like an earthquake. What is this? So because normally I'm so used to being in my mind in these kind of moments, I don't even know what to do with my body, with my breath. And when it was my turn, I was like literally holding on to my desk and the ground. I was gripping the ground with my feet to make sure that I'm grounded. And then I brought my attention to my body, and I realized it was like everything was so shaky. And then I started talking. I knew that my voice was shaky, but the fact that I was grounding, which is a method, by the way. So if you are in front of an audience and if you are in a, sitting position, what you can do, you can bring your attention to your feet, which is easier because you have a place to sit down, and you can bring your attention to the place that you are touching. Like, for example, I'm touching the microphone right now. So if I'm super scared or super nervous, I can bring my attention to my touch sensation, feeling sensation, or I can bring it to the sounds, or I can bring it to the colors. That will immediately ground me. Because when the body is in the fight or flight response in a fearful situation, it won't be able to even recognize colors or, like simple calculations, nothing. But if you are voluntarily bring your attention to these different senses in the moment, the brain will receive a message saying that everything is fine, there's no threat, you can calm down now, and then it will go to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest, digest, and repair mode. Yes, we do have a rest, digest, and repair mode. You can research all that, and we can actually tap into that. So this is the first thing you can do, and this is the first thing I did while I was talking. I was bringing my attention to my bodily sensations, and then the next thing I know, all that, like heartbeat and then fast breathing literally slowed down, and I was able to express myself. And I couldn't believe myself what was happening. Like, that was the first time I ever understood that my body was reacting before my mind does. But if I go after the stories that my mind creates, then forget about it. I'm actually feeding the body even more, saying, go, go, go. Yes, there is actually a threat. You need to be so scared. Get ready to fight, or get ready to go, or freeze, or whatever. So just, and the reason why we feel this way, I don't know. I mean, probably in the past we did experience something and it was associated with fear, like fight or flight. And then now our body perceives these kind of situations as a threatful situation, because in our subconscious mind, this is coded as a fearful situation. And by regulating your nervous system in these kind of situations, you are actually telling your nervous system, hey, this is a safe situation. There's nothing to be worried about. I got this. You can calm down now. I'm about to talk. Please help me out. We're safe. Don't worry. Look at the colors. It's so beautiful. Look at the sounds. Because our ancestors, this is literally like the number one way to trick our mind. If you can enjoy the sounds of the birds, if you can enjoy the color of the sky, it's the number one indicator that there is no threat. Because this is how our ancestors enjoyed their time, when they were listening the sound of the birds, when they were listening the sound of the water. That means it's like, okay, everything is cool, everything is fine, everything is calm. So there is a term called neuroception, which is our scanning method. Wherever we go, we do this unconsciously. Literally, wherever we go, the first thing we do, we scan around, we make sure that the place is safe, then we can relax. But sometimes everyone's nervous system is different. Some people are more triggered, some people are less triggered, because of the environments they've been to, situations they experienced, the family they grew up in. It's just different. And the people around them, their nervous system also, affects them as well. Like, imagine this as a mirroring effect as well. If someone's super calm next to you, it immediately reflects in your state of mind too. If someone's extremely angry, it also makes you angry, it makes you uncomfortable. So the more dysregulated environments you grew up in, but the most likely you are a bit of a dysregulated person too. That doesn't mean that you should worry about it, but you should be aware of it, so you can actually decide and understand which one of your reactions are overreaction and which one of your reactions are unnecessary. Therefore, you can rearrange this nervous system by telling that, hey, this is safe, this is a safe space, don't worry. Going back to the neuroception thing, so when you get into a place, what you do, you are scanning around, right? This is an automatic thing. We don't even control this. This happens by default for everyone. But there is a thing called extroception. This is our way of scanning around voluntarily, meaning, you know what, I'm going to bring my attention to the sounds right now. You know what, I'm going to walk into this place that makes me uncomfortable usually, but I know it's a safe space. For some reason, my nervous system, coded that place as uncomfortable, but I'm going to reteach my nervous system that these spaces are actually safe. So what you do is you are voluntarily using your senses. You can, look around, look at the colors, look at the shapes, look at the sounds, hear the sounds, feel the ground, maybe like bring your attention to the smells and everything. Therefore, you are using your extroceptive skills to send to your brain a message that everything is safe. So you are rewiring, restructuring your nervous system. So this is how it works, literally. This is the science behind. And Another example, for example, from my public speaking fear. So when I used to live in New York, like 10 years ago, I was working in this restaurant. I mean, they took me in, and then, the first couple of days they try you, and if things work out, they hire you officially. So it was a trial part, right? So I never liked being a waitress. I liked being a bartender when I was in college, because for some reason that table in front of the bartender made me feel safe. I mean, this is a well-known thing. Humans do like borders. And that's why, when you go to a restaurant, you always pick a spot like right next to a corner, or you like to have a wall behind you, because I don't know, we just like borders. And for that reason, probably, I liked bartending more, because it made me feel more safe. It felt like, okay, there is some barrier between me and the client, the customer. So I feel more comfortable speaking from this space. But when it comes to waitressing, it was a completely different story for me. So, and my friends were telling me like, yeah, of course you can do it. It's super easy. Come on, you're a very social person. But being social has nothing to do with public speaking. It's totally two different things. So the first day I was like trying to memorize the menu, and, I knew that and in New York, like, restaurants are like literally like schools. You have to know the today's menu. You have to explain what each one of the dishes have, what kind of ingredients in, how they are being cooked, what's today's special, and what should you recommend to the client, and then what kind of wines out there, and then which one is good, which one is bad, and why, and everything. So you have to have a lot of knowledge, like in terms of, liquor and alcohol and food wise, But then on the other hand, I was like very nervous. I realized like my body was reacting. I couldn't even bring two words together. And then that night I went home. I started like, researching like, why is this happening to me? How can I get over it? And at that time, I'm sure Quora is still very common right now. But at that time, Quora, I would research things from Quora, because people would ask like really genuine questions there, and then there will be a lot of answers. So I heard breathwork for the first time in there, and it said, oh, if you're feeling so overwhelmed, if you're feeling so, worried, just bring your attention to your breath, and then, do like a couple of deep breaths, and then you'll be relaxed. And the day after, in the restaurant, it's my second day trial, I tried that. It didn't work. It made me even more worried and anxious, because now I understood why, actually, like after 10 years. I even ended up selling a wrong wine to the client. And then, of course, they didn't accept me in the restaurant. They said, oh, okay, this girl is not made to be a waitress. Okay, goodbye. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. And now I understood why, because when you try to control your breath like that, it actually panics even more. So for that reason, you really need to spend some time, a good amount of time, with breathwork exercises, so you actually understand how your breathing, how your reactive self works. So in these kind of situations, the first thing, I don't bring my attention to my breath. First, I ground. I bring my attention to my feet. I make sure that I'm standing straight, that I'm standing strong. I bring my attention to, the colors around me. Maybe I bring my attention to the sounds around me. And then later on, maybe I start breathing, like I do loud breaths like this, like, something like that. In those kind of moments, we tend to hold our breath as well. And when you tend to hold your breath, the body panics more and the brain gets a message of like, oh my God, threat is still happening. Make sure that you are prepared for this fight. Make sure you are prepared for this run. So that is the reason why it's very important to be aware in these situations of your body sensations. Bring your attention to your body sensations instead of your mind. Because if you are like me, which I was actually listening to the stories that my mind would create. So what happens in these kind of situations? Your mind says, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to say it. So if your attention is in that sentence, then you're like, start worrying, and the body is like, oh my God, yeah, I can't do it. And the body starts giving you more messages like, I'm not feeling well, my heart is beating fast. Then the mind receives like, yes, it's true, for sure. You're not going to be able to say it. Look at it. You don't even remember. It starts creating more and more sentences on top of the first sentence. But if you stop the thought, bring your attention to the body and understand what's happening, and then you start using the tools that you know, the next thing you know, you're calm, and then you look around and you're able to say whatever you need to say. And also, you need to be compassionate towards yourself. You don't expect yourself to be perfect in front of people, especially if it's your first time, second time, third time, fourth time. You have to do these kind of things many times to register in the system that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to say the wrong words, or not being able to explain things in the perfect sentences, in the perfect way, or in the perfect tone, in the perfect rhythm. Whatever, you are you. And acceptance is also a part of it. Loving yourself, being okay with how you are, is also helping the nervous system calm down. Because the more the pushing away you do, the more nervous this body gets. And then, of course, I used to not be able to sing in front of people, and that would shy me. That would make me so nervous as well. My heart would beat fast and I wouldn't be able to sing like I would be able to sing on my own. I said to myself, I was like, you know what? Every single situation that is out there for me to try on, I'm going to give it a try, which I didn't, but I did 80% of the time. I tried my best to do it. I used to not bring my ukulele anywhere because my mind will say, why would you do that? You're not going to even be able to sing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm going to bring it. It doesn't matter if you don't sing. Let's have it with me. And I always sang at the end. And in those moments, I always brought my attention to my body. And each time I had less and less sensations, but every time I had the sensations, and I still do have it, and it's fine, because now it's more of an excitement than the fear. And it's important to be able to differentiate those two as well, because sometimes we can confuse fear versus excitement, and then that can be also an issue as well. Yes, this is how I overcame my fear of public speaking. Am I still not scared? Yes, I am, but I know how to manage it very well. And it's super fun to go through that process of seeing from a fearful situation, from freaking out, to a very calm, a very natural way of being. It's really amazing, guys. So I am a certified breathwork, meditation, mindfulness teacher, and I've been working with myself for the past 4 years. I've been working with people and groups for the past 2 years. So if you would like to have a private session, or if you would like to have a workshop with me in a group setting, online, feel free to reach out. Thank you for watching me. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. I would love to reply. If you know any other techniques, how to overcome your public speaking fear, let us know in the comments so everyone can benefit. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye-bye.